What up, everyone? So, we've got Marvel Collector Corps. Finally! It finally showed up here. Took forever. It's like the 29th now. It finally showed up. I'm sure a lot of people already got it, but I just got it today. So, let's open up this box and see what we got. Obviously, this is Spider-Man, so we'll see what kind of Spider-Man stuff we got. I got my Miles Morales shirt on. We'll see. So, got the classic patch and pin. Let's take a look. Oops. There we go. There's those. Got a little spider and Spider-Man's face. Looks like the classic, like, 90s Spider-Man face. And then got cool decoration on the box. Alright. Here's our card showing everything in there. First, we got a comic, as per usual. Variant cover number 16, actually, which is kind of odd. The Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah, we got number 16. Usually we get number 1s, but I guess it's kind of hard to do since Spider-Man's such a popular character. The number 1s have already happened, so I guess that's reasonable. But the comics that come in these boxes are really never worth anything anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. But, you know, it's always just preferable to get a number 1. And then we got a pop figure. And this kind of looks like the Civil War version of Spider-Man. It might not be. It might just be the way they made him look. But the way his eyes look and everything look kind of like the Civil War one. And he's in the jumping position, which is cool. Box came a little bit damaged there, which is kind of common with Marvel Collector Corps, actually. The boxes very often come damaged. Just because that's always how Funko is, honestly. They just print so many things, and they manufacture so much that the boxes come damaged often. I can kind of fix that a little bit. But yeah, it's just unfortunate. That company's always done that. They just don't have very good quality control. But I really like the pop figure. He looks really cool. I like the ones that are in a jumping position. Yeah, and like I was saying, it looks like the one from the most recent Civil War movie, but I could be wrong. But yeah, it was a bummer that we didn't get really much collectibles from Spider-Man from that movie. Alrighty. Then, we got a fabrication. This is cool. We haven't seen one of these in a really long time. There he is. Take a look at that. There we go. Yeah, I don't think we've ever gotten a fabrication in a Marvel Collector Corps box. Or any of the Funko boxes, for that matter. It could be wrong, but yeah, I don't think we ever have. We've gotten them in, like, one other box, one other time, a long time ago. And I think that was, Power Geek Box or something like that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I kind of like the fabrications. I like the way they do them. I like the stitch figures, but I like the way that they also like are freestanding. I like that they stand on their own, which is kind of cool, because that's usually the problem with plush figures. They're just hard to display. They usually don't stand up. They kind of just lay there, so it's hard to put them on display, unless you're like putting them on your bed or something like that. So that's why I like these. It's just a different style of it. It's just like that, I'm trying to think of the word for it. I can't think of it, but it's just basically like a sculpture, but it's just different because it's stitched versus like vinyl, so it's just cool. Nice change of pace. Comes in a nice little display box, so you can just kind of keep it like that. You don't have to open it up or anything. And the last item. Looks like we got a hat. Amazing Spider-Man. We got a little pop head on there. Then it says, on the bottom, just says Marvel and Pop, which, you know, that doesn't really seem super great. Usually they have like comic book stuff on the bottom of it, like little scenes from the comic book, kind of like they do in the box. That's usually what you see on the bottom side is hats like this, and I kind of wish it was that. I don't really care that it says like Pop and Marvel on there. It kind of seems more like an advertisement than anything else. But we got the spider on the back, and then it also says Pop again on the side. I think they're doing a little too much advertising and not enough design. But at least it arrived in good condition, and I like the colors on it. I think that's pretty cool. And yeah. Pup scratching at the door, sorry. So alright, that's all the items in the box. Not a lot of them, just 4 items. But we'll come back and then we'll talk about some value and give a rating on this box. See you soon. Alright, we are back. Let's talk about some value on this box and give it a rating. So, starting off with our first item, the pop figure. Hopefully yours didn't come as damaged as mine, but odds are it probably did because it came damaged on both sides. But that's kind of what always happens. The value on this is actually pretty low. Now keep in mind, like I've always said, the earlier I review the box, the higher the value is. These values that I'm giving are going to drop over the next couple of weeks. They always do. This box just came out. I got it a little later than people, but I still am reviewing this very early. And the value on that's only about $20 to $22. And honestly, if you wait for an auction, if you go to like eBay or something like that, you can get it way cheaper than that if you have the patience to wait for an auction. Can you stop? If you have the patience to wait for an auction, you'll get it way cheaper than that. And like I was saying, the value on this is going to come down. I could probably see it landing closer to like $16 on that pop figure, but right now it's at $20 to $22, which is still remarkably low, especially considering it's an exclusive sculpt. But the problem I'm seeing here is that Spider-Man is a really popular character, but they just picked things that were a little too common about it. The sculpt on that's good, but it's not that much different than the normal pop figure. I think it was really cool. I like it, but I don't know. I guess there's just not that much of a demand for like the classic Spider-Man. I thought they were going to do a bunch of variants, like the Miles Morales or Iron Spider or something like that. I thought they would have. They should have done the exclusive Iron Spider for this instead of giving it to Walgreens, but, you know, that's just me. Anyway, moving on. The Fabrication. This one right here, again, very low on the value. This is only going for about 11 or 12, and that's going to come down too. That's going to end up being probably closer to $9. That's going to end up lower than 10. And the problem with this is that collectors are so weird, especially with Funko products. Pretty much how it goes is that anything but a pop figure, people just don't give a shit about. Like, people are so dumb when they're collecting. They just are, like, obsessed with pop figures, and if it's not a pop figure, they just don't care. When Funko has a lot of cool products, they're just not as collectible, and since people aren't buying them, they're not worth as much, and it's so stupid. Like, why doesn't anyone care about quality? Why doesn't anyone care about the difference in, like, different kinds of figures? Like, why does no one care? Why is it, like, pop or nothing? But anyway, I don't think Fabrications were ever that popular. They go for a decent amount. Usually the regular ones go for 20, but because they're not that popular, if it shows up in the box, the value drops drastically because so many people are trying to sell it and they can't. So I can see that people are probably going to have a hard time trying to sell this figure if you are going to. But honestly, I still like it. I love classic Spider-Man, and I thought it was cool. But yeah, pretty low on the value. Then the hat. This is only going for like $8 or $9, and that's pretty common with hats in boxes. Whether they're exclusive or not, the hats always just go for really cheap. That's just what it is. If you buy these in stores, not this one specifically, just hats in general that are decorated, a lot of times they'll go for like $20 to $25 for like a branded one. But again, if they show up in a box, it's always much lower because everyone's trying to sell it, because not everyone wants a hat. And honestly, I like hats, but they rarely ever fit me. My head's just so giant. Even with the snapback, I can unsnap it completely, and sometimes my head still won't fit in there. So that's kind of the bummer for me, and I'm sure other people have that same problem. So it's useless to me and those people. Even though you like it, you can't use it, so they sell it. Alright, then our comic. This is only going for about 5 to 7, and that's pretty common. Like I said, the comics in these boxes, the Funko ones specifically, are just really never worth anything. They never go up in value. They drop in value pretty drastically. That's pretty normal. Like, somewhere between like $4 and $7 is always what it is. Even with the number one, even though they're exclusive covers. And then the patch and pin, where are they? Right here. Patch and pin combo, I always put them together because they kind of go together. I can't imagine someone wanting one without the other, honestly. But this goes for 5 to 6, and that's common too with any of the Funko boxes, Marvel, DC, Star Wars. The patch and pin combo goes for about 5 to 7. This one's 5 to 6, so no big surprise there. So, that being said, that brings our value on the low end of 49 and on the high end of 56. So extremely low on the value this month. This is the lowest value we've ever gotten from a box. And the worst part about it is, like I said, all the values I gave, they're going to drop even lower than they already are. These are the top values because this box just came out. And more people are going to get it, more people are going to sell it as time goes on indefinitely because they never stop making these individual boxes. You can still buy individual ones. So the value is going to drop even lower. So it's not even close to double right now, and it's going to drop even below that. So it may get to the point where you're barely getting what you paid for, which is really surprising considering they picked such a popular character. Of all the boxes they've done, this is probably the most, if not one of the most popular characters that they've had in a box. The first one was Avengers, and I guess that's more popular, but it's Spider-Man. It's like their go-to, like, #1 Marvel character. I think the problem was they just didn't mix it up enough. They didn't make it interesting enough. They put items in here that not everyone's a fan of, and they did classic 90s Spider-Man, that pop version of him, all around. That's all they gave. Like the patch, the pin, everything looks exactly the same. They didn't do any variants of Spider-Man, no black suit, no Miles Morales, no like 2099, nothing. It's just all the same one. So they really needed to do more variety here, more versions of Spider-Man. And I'm really surprised they didn't. And the hat instead of the shirt, that's a difference of opinion. Some people preferred not getting shirts all the time, but some people don't use hats. But I think people in general would prefer a shirt because everyone can use a shirt. Not everyone would wear the hat. So after all that said, I'm only gonna excuse me. I'm only gonna give this a 6.75 out of 10. I like the box. I love Spider-Man. He's one of my favorite characters. So the good news for me is that I'm not going to sell any of this. I'm keeping everything here because I really liked it. So I'm not too concerned about the value, but other people might be. Obviously, you wouldn't get this box if you didn't like Spider-Man, but you may not have liked the items you got, and you're honestly going to have a really hard time selling anything except the pop figure, and that's really not going to go for much. So, and not much variety. So this is probably, I wouldn't say this is a bad box. Like I said, I still liked it, but value-wise, variety-wise, this is probably one of the worst ones they've ever done. I don't think anyone would be disappointed, but I don't think anyone's going to be thrilled either. And again, value is remarkably low. This is pretty incredible that they're doing this. I think Funko's just kind of losing its steam. When they first started, they were such a big deal, and they were blowing all these other boxes out of the water. But now that so many people are getting it, it devalues it. Everything in there is pretty much worthless because everyone's getting this box. They're putting out like 500,000 or so a month, and that just ruins the value for everyone. So it's getting kind of risky now. So hopefully, luckily they announce each character beforehand, so you kind of get a better idea, and you can assume, you can pick out characters you like and not get things you dislike. So that helps a little, but it's still getting risky on what you're going to get here. Anyway, let me know what you guys thought, if you still liked it, or if you're disappointed on the value. Let's talk about it in the comics. This has been Marvel Collector Core, the Spider-Man box, 6.75 on the box. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Love y'all. Peace.